Boy, Pop, there's a lot going on in the world. I made a good video yesterday. It got interrupted by a really, uh, a really serious troll who's decided to stalk my channel. So unfortunately, I had to erase the video because things got out of hand. And in doing so, it erased a lot of useful information. I'm sorry I don't have puppies and clowns, kittens and balloons on my channel, but I do have my donkey Pedro that you all sent me, and I appreciate that. It's adorable. When I was a kid, I had a I had a donkey named Pedro, and my parents threw him out when I was away at listening camp. So, they disrespected my stuff, threw my stuff out, and then threw me out a couple years later. Even though I was a good cooperative kid, went to work full time at the age of 14. They put me out at 15 with the clothes on my back. Then they went out of the country because they cared so much for me. But in any case, like I said, a lot's going on in the world. And things are getting more and more critical. The bear country is saying that pretty much retaliation is inevitable. We have all of these people flooding into our country, and the vast majority of them are fighting age males. And I believe that it's just a fifth column. I personally believe that we've been sold out a long time ago. And when the time comes, that these people that are being placed all over the country, these cells will be activated. So I'm very sorry for my country. I love my country. And these globalists that are betraying our country, and they figure that once they sell us out, they're going to have a place in the new order. But see, whoever ends up running this new order is not going to want people who would betray their own country. So these people are deceivers, and they're being deceived, exactly like the Bible says. Everything that's happening is biblical. You have the one person who gets on the tube every night, very popular channel, and he uses the word biblical, but yet he refuses to acknowledge the fact that the veracity of the Bible is due to fulfilled prophecy. So the Bible's been 100% accurate. Thousands of years ago, it predicted the Euphrates River drying up. Thousands of years ago, it talked about covering your mouth if you were sick, social distancing, all of that stuff, centuries before, it came to pass. No other book has done that. And Nostradamus, everyone talks about Nostradamus. His prophecies were very vague. They were not time specific, like the Bible, where it said that a nation would be born in 1 hour, that nation being Israel. So people just don't want to acknowledge it because they don't want to feel obligated to doing what the Word of God says that they should do. So in any case, the bear country is severely ticked off at Britain for supplying these cruise MISS, ILES, however you spell them. And then you have this Taiwan Forum Manufacturing. So this forum said very casually, almost jokingly, that the Iron Eagle country, that's us, would bomb TSMC semiconductor factory in Taiwan if the Red Dragon were to overrun Taiwan. And so that would bring all manufacturing across the world to a screeching halt, you know? And see, in my day, people could keep their mouths shut. These people during this forum don't understand the huge danger that they've put our country in by making this comment. And see, they don't understand that the other countries are literally scrutinizing our media. They're watching our newscasts, all of that. They had the balloon go over and map out our defenses. So they're putting the pieces of the puzzle together. And the bear country has amended their constitution, so to speak, in order to justify a first strike against the Iron Eagle. So we are right on the brink. We are right on the brink of this stuff escalating. And it's a shame. It's a shame that this generation hasn't learned the value of keeping a secret. Like I said, if America had to fight WW2 again all over, we would never make it. Because now there's always somebody in our society that once they learn a little something, it's more important to their ego that they tell the secret and they tell the rest of the world that they were the first ones to know about it. I was watching a movie based on another movie, First Strike, and essentially it explains why we were sold out. That America used to be the can-do nation. We could do anything. Now we've decided that we can't do anything right, and we've just given up on ourselves. And so with that in mind, these people in power now, they figured that it's better to just hand our country over peacefully to this new world order rather than to try and maintain our sovereignty. Boy, they got a surprise coming. Handing this country over to people who were never elected and people who don't care about putting us first. And see, the thing is with these globalists, you can march in the street and use your bullhorns and blow your whistles. They don't care a speck about that as long as they have you under control. And the last little bit of control that they want to do is to control your pocketbook, take away your First Amendment rights and your Second Amendment rights. I believe we're very close to losing our Second Amendment rights. And so when that happens, the last big democracy on the face of the planet, other than Israel, will be wiped out. And you're going to see the world change dramatically. Even people who have prepared and lived cautiously for this time to have some money put aside and their bills paid and some food stocked up in their house, when our government finally gets around to doing home wellness checks, they're going to send people door to door to see if you have any GUNS and how much food and supplies you have, and they're going to redistribute it according to their equity doctrine, because they've destroyed the supply chain. So they're squeezing everybody they're corralling everybody. And we have our smoke and mirrors, our bread and our circuses, our light beer and football games, our wokeness, and we're asleep at the wheel until it's going to be too late, I'm sad to say. So in any case, this other movie based on the first strike was called The Day After, and the main characters are the Dahlberg family that spend a week or so in their basement after the BOMB drops. And the movie has continuity issues, and things aren't absolutely correct. Primarily, the one thing that the family does that's a mistake is the daughter runs out and she gets herself contaminated with fallout, and then she brings it back into the house. Whereas if they had come upstairs right after the BOMB dropped and the immediate danger was over, they could have covered up their windows with sheets or some other thing to keep the fallout out of the inside of their house, and they would not have had to have camped out in the basement, for a week or two. They could have eventually started living again inside the main part of their house, and keeping their sanity about them and everything else. The movie doesn't end up well. The one little boy doesn't follow directions. He winds up blinded. The daughter runs out into fallout, and she becomes ill from radiation exposure. The father gets himself capped because there are trespassers on his property, and instead of telling the people, look, we all need to work together on this farm to survive, he gets off of his horse with an SHOTGUN, and they defend themselves and cap the guy before he has a chance, to pull the upper hand on the people as they're eating one of his cattle over an open fire. Like I said, the thing to have done would have been to approach the people and turn them into farm hands and gotten his farm back on track. But the movie doesn't end like that. It ends with the mother and the daughter in the kitchen doing dishes without knowing what's going on around them. So I give it like a 2.5 or 3 stars. Like I said, because of continuity issues. But fam, that being the case, one thing that I haven't seen mentioned on various prepper channels is the necessity of strengthening your windows at your home so that you can avoid, contamination of your home, and you can strengthen your windows and still let the light through. And they have, I think it's a Gorilla Company, makes a glass shield that you unroll and you put on the back of your windows to strengthen them. And it's not very expensive. You can get it on Amazon for like $14 a roll. And in any case, it doesn't keep people from breaking your window, but it does help resist people who are trying to break into your house by smashing the glass. The glass will break, but the plastic backs it up to where it won't give way, and it gives you more time to react to what's going on. So that's another thing that I would add to my preps if I were you. This Gorilla glass strengthener and some clear painter's tarps and maybe a staple gun and some heavy duty duct tape, so that if your windows are compromised, if and when that happens, you can cover your windows and keep the fallout out of your house so that you have a little bit more area in your house to move around until things settle down. You can get a Geiger counter on Amazon starting at $55. I've got one. And I have my boron tablets. I have my potassium iodide tablets for my thyroid. And I have my apples. Apples have pectin, and pectin remediates the radiation to a degree. So I have that among my other preps. But fam, this stuff is really getting serious. And the people up on the hill that are destroying our country and have already destroyed it, in my estimation, I don't think even if Donald Trump were president again this time, that he could undo all of the things that Sleepy Joe has done to this country. He can't undo the 13 servicemen that lost their lives unnecessarily in Afghanistan. He can't undo the $85 billion of weapons and munitions and cash that was left behind in Afghanistan that the Dragon Country now wound up, with. He can't undo the damage done by that surveillance balloon that the Dragon Country sent over a while ago. And see, when people say, well, character's not an issue, the fact that this family is corrupt is an issue, the laptop from hell isn't an issue, and people stick their heads in the sand, then you have to take what comes your way. My generation was the show me generation. If you had slandered the president during my generation, we would be, well, prove it, But this current generation eats up fake news. It's just so incredible. Case in point, Donald Trump is a germaphobe, and I can tell you there is no way that he kissed on that lady or did anything else with that lady, the lady who's a porn star that's had more ding-dongs in her mouth than a cupcake factory. There's no way that he ever got with that lady. Stormy Daniels or whatever her name is, you know. And anyone who believes that is just being naive and is hating on the man for the sake of hate, because he had mean tweets and he was mean. So they had to get rid of him. But the media doesn't tell you about things like when the National Guardsmen came to protect D.C., that Trump made sure that they were put up in one of his hotels to be comfortable while the other bunch on the hill let some of the men camp out on a cold concrete floor in a parking garage in January. They don't tell you about the lady, the African American lady, who snuck into Trump's hotel and camped out in one of the rooms. And when they asked Trump what to do, he told them to leave her alone. And as a matter of fact, give her 3 meals a day on the hotel. That was over 9 years ago that lady's been staying in one of Trump's, beautiful rooms for free, eating 3, delicious meals served to her every day for free. The media doesn't mention that kind of stuff. They call him anti-Semitic, and he's got a Jewish son-in-law, and I believe his daughter has become Jewish. So they don't tell you any of that stuff. They only tell you the bad. But fam, this stuff is getting really serious. The trap is slowly closing on us. And like I said, if you're in mommy and daddy's basement and you're playing video games waiting for somebody to tell you what to do, I'm sorry, you're not going to make it. And I'm sorry I don't have puppies and clowns and kittens and balloons on my channel. But it's just that we're at a very crucial point in our country's history. Poppity pops out.